1010 Bible study from inside of my car in a parking lot. People might be looking at me like I'm crazy. Hey.
1010 Bible study. Jump into the Word with us.
What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in for 1010 Bible study. 1 Corinthians chapter 14. We gonna talk about it. This might be one of those chapters that you are reading, and when you're done reading, it might leave you kind of thinking like, what did I just read? So I'm gonna talk about it a little bit, and I'm gonna put all my contact info in the description of this video. So if you are confused and you want someone to talk to about it, I would love to talk to you and tell you all about my research on this chapter and kind of what I found and where I found it and how I found it and all that good stuff. But Paul is basically talking about two big things. One, he's talking about spiritual gifts, and the other is he's kind of talking about conduct within the church service of the time, which I think kind of applies today still. So he's talking about spiritual gifts, and he's basically saying pray for spiritual gifts that are going to help build up other people around you, right? And he uses the difference between the spiritual gift of prophecy and the spiritual gift of speaking in tongues. And he says speaking in tongues is good and all, but no one really knows what you're saying. You know, it can kind of just sound like gibberish sometimes. So he's saying, you know, he's like, that's great. If it builds you up, it builds you up. But at the same time, no one's really getting anything out of it. Whereas prophecy is where you're kind of calling things out, and people are like, man, you could be really, really good at this one day. Or, you know, have you ever thought about doing X, Y, and Z? Like, I see this big potential in you. That's something more along the lines of prophecy. And so Paul's just basically saying, like, man, if you're praying for spiritual gifts, pray for the one that's going to build people up. And he's like, if you're praying between prophecy and speaking in tongues, pray for prophecy, because you're going to be building people up with prophecy. So that's one thing. Like, pray for the spiritual gifts. Pray for gifts in your life that are going to help build people up around you. And the other part of the chapter talks kind of about conduct within the service, right? And he's basically saying in that time, like, there wasn't like a set pastor in that time period. Like, people would just get up and speak what God had put on their heart. And he's saying, like, man, there's a time for you to speak and there's a time for you to listen. So he's saying, like, man, figure out those times, understand those times. Like, if God's putting something on your heart, then maybe that's your time to speak. But your time to speak is not going to be all the time. So there is going to be a time for you to listen. And the best way I can think of it in my brain is that vertical. A lot of times that's my time to speak, right? That's my time to instruct. It's my time to kind of put what God's put on my heart and give it to you guys. But when I'm in a staff meeting at Park Valley, that's my time to listen. When I'm in main service, that's my time to listen. That's my time to grow. That's my time to learn from other people around me. So it's not always my time to talk. It's not always our time to be speaking. Sometimes we need to sit back and listen to what other people have to say. So that's what I got out of this chapter, out of this 10:10. Like I said, if you're confused after reading it, I totally get it. Shoot me an email, text message, phone call, whatever works best for you. I'd love to chat with you about it. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.
1010 Bible study. Jump into the Word with us.